What's your trader? It is Tuesday morning. Now we're going to take a look here at Bitcoin, at gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas. And we'll take a look here at the old NQ, the Nasdaq, which is down about 9. Now remember, today at 8:30 can be very, very key. It's going to be the CPI report measuring inflation. And then Thursday is going to be the PPI report. And then today after the close, we have the API numbers there for crude oil. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation advice on the stock market ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Okay, here we have Bitcoin. Now, I can't stress enough here the CPI report at 8:30. That's going to be very, very key. And then the Thursday one, that PPI report, is going to be also very, very key to see if they're actually going to start lowering rates here in September, if they're going to do any kind of a cuts or whatever they're going to do, or is inflation starting to creep up. I was happy to be at the Dollar General yesterday, and well, it used to be a dollar store, and then it went to a $1.25 store, and I go ring it up, and now it's a $1.50 store. Okay, so got to be very, very careful here on how these prices starting to rise. Okay, so got to give it a little bit of patience, but watch those numbers at 8:30 can be very, very critical. Okay, here we have old Bitcoin. Now you can see here huge sticky topping tail yesterday. Look at that bad boy. Okay, and I always say watch right on out. All these topping tails, then we had it on the weekly, and so far we have it on this monthly situation. Now we've got to see how this is all going to shake out. Now today we put in just a little bit lower low. So on the downside, what we're watching is this 117.715. That's going to be very, very key support. If we lose that, then we'd be looking right here at this 8-day. Okay, you're looking at 116.625 level. Now, if we lose that level, then we'll come down to the bottom, 116.295. And then we can come down to the bottom of that candle. You're looking at 114.685 level. And then we have 113.860. And then we're going to come to this 113.45, which is basically just the bottom of that candle. Then we have the 50-day below that. Now, on the upside, what we're watching is today, so far we had high of 119.690 level. Okay, so we're hanging right around this 119.75. We're hanging right in there. Now, if we can get rise on up here a little bit, we got to have 124.15, and then we'll come up top to this candle at 121.255. Then we can go to yesterday's high at 122.955, and then we have your retest at 123.615. But this is ass ugly. I don't like this unless we can get back above it, and that would negate it. But right now we have that big topping tail that we have to deal with, kind of a situation. When you look at the RSI, you have 58. That could go either way. The green is still below your red, shows momentum there. Like sideways action here now. But again, just watch that key 21-day and that 8-day situation. Now, again, that CPI is going to affect this very, very big time. Now, here on the weekly chart, what we're going to be looking for is a hold of that 115.386. That's going to be very, very crucial on a closing basis by Friday. Okay, we start losing that. You got 112.345. We have 110.150. We have 108.960. We come all the way down here to that 104.294 level. But again, we have this 50 days, but we still have a nice, good uptrending chart situation. See, bottom left, upper right, very, very nice uptrending chart. But again, I just don't like what we had yesterday. I sold that BITX into it. Now I'll be looking for a buying opportunity if we can hold the 21-day and that 8-day. If not, we can do the absolute retest. 113.45 and look for that 50-day there at 112.174. Okay, let's take a look here now at gold and silver. Okay, here we have gold, here we have silver. Now you can see here how the gold has still have a very, very nice uptrending chart. But again, see how we put that topping tail? Not good. And then yesterday we had that big ass red candle, came down, but it held the 21-day, and so far we're holding this 21-day. So this is going to be very, very crucial on the downside. 33.88. It'll be very, very key. If we lose that, then you're going to go to this 33.73 level. That is your 50-day. That's going to be your next support level. Then we come down to the bottom here. Are you looking at 33.31? That's your next level. And then we have 33.24. We have 33.19. And then we have this 33.04 level, which is basically just the bottom of that candle situation. And then we have right here, this that's 3,300, and then 33.04 is right above it, is that 100 SMA. But again, we have to lose a 21-day to 50-day in order to do that. Now, upside, we're going to be watching today's high, 34.08. But what we're really going to be watching is that 8-day at 34.30. Okay, now you have to get back above that and close back above that 34.30 level. Then we can start hitting some of these candles. 34.44 level, we'll come up there at 34.47, 34.51. We have that 34.66, 34.83, and then your big, obviously your retest 35.34 level. But let's not forget about this topping candle right there at that 35.09. Okay, because you can see where, yeah, did we get above it? Absolutely. Did we close above it? Oh, hell no. Okay, so always look to the left of that chart, 35.09. That's going to be very, very key. However, when we look at this chart and we see this topping tail, that's not a good look. Okay, so you really have to get back above that 8-day in order to start rallying up towards that. But when you have that topping tail, we could have just a sideways to down kind of an action. So you have to be very, very careful here. Now on the RSI, you're only sitting at 50. That could go either way. The green is still over your red, shows momentum there to the upside. But again, that topping tail, I think, is that's pretty much sets the tone here, unless we get some kind of a catalyst to take it up higher. Now we look at silver. Well, let's see what's going on with silver. We're coming around down. Now what we did is we had that indecision candle. That was Friday. Yesterday we had that big red candle, and now today we put in the lower low, and now we're below this 8-day. So what we're watching on the upside is we're watching that 8-day, 37.84. Then we'll be looking at today's high, 37.97, and then we'll be looking right for that 21-day at 38.21. If we can get above that, yesterday's high, 38.56. 38.76, and then the top of that candle at 38.87. We can keep right on rolling, and then we have 39.02, we have 39.52, 39.66, and then you retest at 39.91. But right there, not a good situation, especially with a lower low, and now we're below that 8-day. Now, on the downside, we want to watch today's low, 37.51, but really what we're watching is this 37.21, that 50 SMA. That's going to be very, very key. If that is lost, we come right down to the bottom of that candle. You're looking at 36.80 level, and then we come down to 36.40, and then we have your retest down there at 36.28. Now, we had a nice pinball action yesterday, going between your 8-day and your 21-day. But now we're below that 8-day, okay? You can see where she topped out, and now we'll be looking for that 50-day. So there could be a big pinball action maybe here. So don't have no opinion, okay? Just trade this chart. Now, 8-day, very, very critical. 21-day, very, very critical. We can't hold that. That 50-day is going to be very key. If not, we could retest that 36.28 very easily. Okay, let's take a look here now at crude oil and natural gas. Okay, here we have crude oil, here we have natural gas. Now, you can see here where crude oil, now remember the API report will be out today at 4:30, and the EIA report will be on Wednesday at 10:30. Now, you can see here where we just had that series of lower highs and lower lows. That's never good. So far today, we have an inside day. So what we're really watching is yesterday's high, 64.44, but this is going to be the key, 64.75. Now, you can see how nice that 8-day, see across the 21-day, cross the 50-day, and now we cross that 100-day. That's not a good look unless you can get back above it. Now, I'm not talking about popping above it and coming back down. I'm talking about you have to close above it. So your key resistance is going to be that 64.75, and then we have that 64.90 right here. This is going to be very, very crucial level, okay? And that's going to be your 100-day. We get above that, you have 66.13, your 21-day, then we have your 50-day, 66.77, and then 67.80. Now, there is a hurricane that is building in the Gulf, so we got to see how that's going to shake out. Now, again, if there's any kind of disruption, you have to shut down rigs, anything on that order, well, then crude will, rise up higher. Also, T-Man is meeting with Putin to try to see if they can get that war in Ukraine all settled. If they do, Putin's going to want something. He's going to want to put some oil on the market. Saudi Arabia is already dumping oil on the market. I think you're pretty well plentiful in the oil situation here, unless there's some kind of a disruption situation. Now, on the downside, basically here, just watch that 62.77. That's going to be very, very critical on a closing basis, all right? So, again, if that's lost, all we do is look right to the left of the chart. You have that 62.50. We have 62.17. Top of that candle, 61.72. Bottom of that candle, 61.06. And then we come down to the bottom there at 60.55. Then we have your 59.74. Everything you know, support levels is sitting basically right here. Now, if that is lost, okay, That's lost. Then we just come right firing all the way on down. You got 57.74 level. We have 57.03. You come all the way down to 55.03 and 55.12 is your going to be your big target. Now, if this is lost, okay, you got 53, you got 50, you got 47, and you can go all the way down to 43 very, very easily. Okay, so just remember that. Now, when we look at your RSI, we're only sitting at 41. That's not overbought or oversold. The green is below your red. That has much lower to go. So again, watch this. But when this 8-day crosses over, that is going to be very, very strong resistance level. Here's an example of it, how it comes up, pops up, couldn't get through until you can crack above it, but you're going to need a catalyst to take it up higher. Okay, here we have natural gas. Well, natural gas is hanging in there, but bottom line here, we put in another lower yesterday at 2.88. Okay, so that's the level that we're going to be watching. Okay, yeah, there's support right there. Okay, you got 2.94. We have 2.92. You have 2.89. But right there is going to be the key, is going to be that 2.88. Now, if we lose that, then we come right to the left, and this is going to be your target right there at that 2.858. Now, if we lose that, then all we have to do is crank this bad boy up right here. And what do we have? Okay, you got, 2.75. Then we come down here, we have 2.68. We follow the candles down, you got 2.51. You work yourself down 2.26, and you work yourself 221 here until you come all the way down to a retest of 1.87. Now, I'm not saying that's where it's going to go, but I'm saying if it does, we know exactly where the support levels are. Now, on the upside, this 8-day is everything. Big that up a little bit there for you, okay? Yeah, see this 8-day, that is everything. You have to get back above it. See how downtrending? Everything. 8-day, 21-day, 50-day. Okay, we have a complete waterfall in all these simple moving averages. So you have to reverse that. It wants to go higher. High, lower high, lower high, lower high situation off a topping tail. Total downtrend situation on the nat gas, okay? So watch that 301. That's going to be very, very crucial. If we can get above that, we come top there, 310. You got roughly 315, and then we have your 316 level. Okay, so we get above that, then we come up there, you have 319, and then we can come up top of that candle, look at 326, 333, and then we can head for that 340, which is your 50-day. Then you have your 100-day at 347, and then 348 is your 200-day. But you have to get above this 8-day. Right now, we have a downtrending situation, not good. You can see how strong that 8-day is, where it pops in. Okay, even though you got above it, it could not hold it, put indecision candle, and came flying right on down. So bottom line, this is what you're watching today, is that 288 level. Okay, that's going to be key on the downside. And on the upside, we'll be watching at 302. Very, very crucial. Now, RSI, this is not oversold. This is 38. That could go much lower. This is just hugging the bottom. There's really nothing here as far as a bullish kind of a situation trend. And oil is following the same kind of a scenario. So just, trade this accordingly. I trade this UNG for the long, KOLD for the short. Worked out very, very nice. UCO for the long, SCO for the short. Working out very, very nice on the crude oil. Okay, let's take a look here now at the old NQ. Okay, here we have the NASDAQ futures. Now you can see here on a beautiful chart, it had a nice, really good run out. We had that pullback, and then she ran right on up. But now we're getting here, you're out to the nosebleed section. But just a couple things I want to point out to you. See how we have this negative divergence going on here, okay? So if we break above this 2384, but we're sitting here lower situation here, okay? Now, it doesn't seem to want to get through that. A lot of times what it does, it'll run right on up, and then it comes right on off, and then it wants to retest that level. If you can't get through that 23,845, then you're going to have sideways to down action, okay? So that's what you're watching, is that 23,845. Now, we crack through that, you can go to your 24,000 very, very easy, okay? Now, downside, this is what you want, 23,408, and right there, 23,61. We lose that, we're going to come right to the bottom of that candle, 23,84, and then we come down there, you got 23,45, and then we'd be looking for this retest at 22,775, and then your 50-day 22,753. Okay, that's your downside action. If we lose this situation, then you're going to be, we have support all the way down here, but realistically, you're going to be heading for that 21,221 level, which is, now remember, we're coming to get to this time here at the end of August, September, October. That's the worst 6 weeks of coming up here for the market. Okay, unless you're short, then it's not really that bad. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. So just make sure that you use stops when you trade. Take profits when you trade. Okay, that's how you make it. Consistent money. You start on Monday. By the time you get to Friday, boom, you got a pocket full of cash. Now, this has been just gelling up here. We got to this overbought condition, and now we're kind of falling off the situation. Now, the CPI report is going to be huge for this market, and that's going to be today at 8:30. So we have to be very, very sharp. And then the PPI on Thursday. Those are going to be the two big market movers to see what the inflation is, if Powell's going to start cutting rates, what the whole scenario is going to be. Okay, that's what I got for you. I'll be back here at midday trading, and we'll take a look at some stocks. Trade what's in front of you, not what you want.